You clicked on this video, you're probably wanting to learn a new skill, or you're trying to progress your career in order to, make more money or something of that nature. However, you're probably feeling stuck with nowhere to go and you don't know what you should be learning or how you can actually accomplish those goals. Well, today I'm going to help you figure out those goals and how to accomplish them in a timely manner that doesn't cause a lot of stress. My name is Anthony, and I'm currently an engineer at Microsoft while also going to school and also trying to learn a few certifications in the meantime. I have a few tips that I can definitely share that help me in progressing not only my career, but also the skills that I need in order to progress into senior level, staff level, manager level, etc. The first tip is whether you work from home like me or you go into the office every day, you need to have a specific buffer from work and then whatever you're trying to do after work. For example, I start my day around 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I end my day around 4:30, 5 o'clock. If I go straight into, studying for a new test, doing a programming assignment, whatever, I will never have the same efficiency as I would if I took a 30-minute break and then started to do my homework or whatever I was planning on doing that night. You see, if you have, if you work 8, 9 hours, you have one lunch break, you're not giving yourself a lot of breaks and your brain to figure out exactly what needs to happen in order to accomplish those goals. So what I always recommend, if you get home from work at 5, 6, whatever, you get dinner, you have an hour dinner or something like that, you cook dinner, maybe go on your phone for a few minutes, don't go too long on your phone, but watch TV for a little bit. And then you have a nice 30 minutes to an hour after all of those things where you can really just put your head to the grindstone and make a lot of progress in whatever you're trying to do. And with that, you might be asking yourself, well, what should I do? What goals should I strive for? And that's a great question because a lot of people don't know exactly what their next step is, and that's okay. Knowing your next step is definitely a crucial part to this because you can't set time aside if you don't know what your goal is in the first place. So what I want you to do is wherever you are, if you're in tech, if you're in, accounting, if you're in whatever field you're in, look at someone that you know in your personal life and see where they are. See what job title you want. Look that up on somewhere. Whatever job responsibilities that person has or that title, make a list of it. And if you don't have some of those things that person has, then that is a great starting point of having those goals set aside. If you want to be, for example, one of my goals is to become a senior engineer, staff engineer. I'm missing a lot of those things right now that would propel me into that senior level position. So what do? I take, I look at a job description on LinkedIn, at Microsoft, Netflix, whatever, and I figure out what I actually need to accomplish those goals. Right now, I'm in a master's degree program at University of Illinois, and that's for computer science. A lot of the senior level positions are experience as well as a master's degree, and then a few other programming languages that I'm learning in the meantime. So that's what I did. I figured out, what do I need for myself and my career to make the progression into the next level of senior engineer. That's a great way to get started, and I definitely highly recommend you guys, start that. Going back to my first tip, I said take a break, have a buffer between work and school or certification or whatever your goal is that you're striving for at nighttime. You should also apply that to the goals that you set aside for yourself. You can't do everything in one night. Rome wasn't built in one night. I know everyone's heard that. So you want to break things up into 30, 40-minute chunks or even less than that. I know when I'm, traversing all my lectures for the class that I'm in this semester, if a lecture is over 30, 40 minutes, I'm like, I don't want to watch this. This is a complete waste of time. But you inevitably have to get through that lecture. In some ways that I try to do it is I gamify it and put on a list, watch the lecture for 10, 15 minutes and you're engaged. You're taking notes for those 10 to 15 minutes in that lecture because anything past that for me, I'm like, what the heck's this guy even talking about? I don't even know what he's talking about. And it isn't really a useful, allocation of my time personally. But what I do is I try to gamify things 10 to 15 minutes at a time. And that really helps me kind of intake that information and provide my best work in those little 10 to 15 minute spurts. And then I'll give myself maybe a 2 to 5 minute thing, reset and do another 10, 15 minutes until I'm done that lecture for either that night or the next night. Because you obviously don't want to work past your personal time when you're having a lot of lapses in judgment when you're trying to watch that lecture or do other homework assignments or any other things that you're trying to learn for your specific goals. And a lot of those things I just said are great and all. You find your goal, allocate time to it. But what if you don't have the extra money to actually, buy those boot camps or buy a certificate or, enroll into a grad program or something like that, or enroll into a bachelor's degree program? What if you don't have that money? And I'll say to you, there are a lot of free resources that your company that you currently work for probably don't tell you about within your benefits. You first start working at a company, you have this huge benefits session where you're with HR and they tell you all these great things. You say, oh, that's great. And then you never sign up for any of them. One of the big things is a lot of companies actually offer $5,200 towards tuition, whatever college. Currently, right now, like Microsoft offers me $10,000 a year to go to grad school. And I utilize that basically every year I've been there. Now, obviously, you don't have to use up all the 10,000, but 5,200 can enroll a lot of things. You can take a class, you can enroll into a boot camp, you can do a lot of these things. So I encourage you, if you're working at a company currently, try to look at what their tuition reimbursement policies are and take advantage of that, because it's a great thing to progress your career, free money on the table. The second thing is, like I said before, there are a lot of great free resources, YouTube being one of them that you clicked on this video with. Take some time and figure out, obviously you have your goals that you set aside, and now you need to set aside what tools you're going to be using in order to learn those things. Udemy, there's a lot of different learning platforms out there that you can use, and they're great resources. So definitely look down the description, because I'll link a few that have helped me in the past to learn, certain things. And lastly, this is probably no surprise to any of you that have clicked on this video, but being consistent is key to anything in life. Even if you only do 20, 30 minutes a day working towards that goal, whether you're watching a video, whether you're taking notes on a specific language and they're looking at that documentation, figuring out what works best for you and something that you can stay consistent on throughout a long period of time will benefit you indefinitely throughout the long run. For me, that's around 30 minutes to an hour of work per night. And being consistent with that is something that I try to strive for, but obviously there's definitely some lapses in that. But having a consistent schedule will help you achieve your goals quicker than if you were to do 2 to 3 hours at once, get burned out for another 2 days, and then have to think you have to do way more that one day. And then you have like a mental blockage where you're like, I didn't do that. The other day I need to do way more. And then when you think of it like that, you'll never ever get anything done, because you're in debt to yourself when you miss a few days. If you miss 2 or 3 days, you're 30 minutes in the debt. First say you have to do 2 hours this day. You'll never ever want to step into that and figure out how to repay yourself essentially with that time to progress your goals forward. That's one thing. Always have a set schedule and be consistent with it, because you'll always end up hitting your goals if you do that correctly. Those are my 5 tips on how I try to stay consistent and achieve my goals after a 9-to-5 job like I have. If you have any more questions regarding any of these tips, definitely drop a comment. And like and subscribe for more content like this. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day whenever you're watching this, and you start to achieve your goals in a more timely manner than you were before. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you around this channel more often. Thank you very much.